now that you have practiced making a landscape and are starting to get used to the process of using Procreate, today we're going to create our own unique landscapes kind of based on the same idea as the one you've already done. So what you're going to want to do to start out with is you're going to hit the plus sign at the top right, and after you hit the plus sign, you're going to want to create your canvas. You can do screen size, you can do square. It kind of depends on what kind of shape you're going for. I'm going to do screen size for mine. I'm going to open that. So I'm actually going to turn mine. I think I want a vertical landscape for my picture because we're going to create something very similar to what you've already done, but you're going to use your own kind of unique spin. Going to create your own type of landscape, use your own type of shapes. Basically, this will be practicing a little bit of that clipping mask and using some unique color schemes with some techniques that I like to use. So for this, I'm going to look at this YouTube channel. This was the one that we watched the video off of and got some inspiration from, so this should look familiar. The one in particular that you watched was down here somewhere, this one on the bottom right with kind of the dripping sort of looking mountains with the water. And then you can see that this YouTuber also has a couple of other kind of similar ones. There's this lighthouse on the middle left here. And then above that one is kind of another mountainy sort of landscape inside of a circle. There's another mountainscape on the top there. I'm going to create something kind of like that, using that as inspiration. Also, so first of all, I would start by picking a color scheme. So on your Google Classroom, sorry, I keep zooming in and out. On your Google Classroom, there is a link to this website called Coolors. Coolors is a color generation, color palette, color scheme generation website. It'll pop up with a bunch of helpful how-to nonsense whenever you first go to the website, so just ignore that, click through it, whatever. You can read it, I guess, if you feel the need. But what you really want to do is on the top here, there's a button that says Generate. You're going to want to push the Generate button. That will take you to the color generation page. And here we've got, try to close something and I end up opening something. Here we've got a color palette already generated. It's very, very bright, but maybe not exactly what I was looking for. So if you hit on the left, there's a button called Generate. And you can keep doing that until you get a color palette you are happy with. So for this, say I really, really like this blue color. I'm going to hit the lock on the blue color. The lock means that it will stay right there. And I also kind of like this purple color on the far right. Now I can do some things. I'm going to drag it over here first of all to get it closer to that blue that I like. And if you hit the kind of grid, you can change how the color is coded. You can also favorite it if you were to sign in with your account. I'm going to lock this color too. Then I'm going to hit Generate until it will give me colors that will go well with the first two colors I've already picked. I kind of want a greenish color. Can I get a lighter version of this green maybe? No, it doesn't want to. Okay. I like this green color. There we go. This is a good color palette. It's very simple. It's not terribly realistic to anything in particular, but it's very neat looking. So I'm going to take a screenshot, and I'm going to go back to Procreate. Remember from our intro day, you can add pictures. So let's insert a photo and add this one that we've just taken a screenshot of. I'm going to make it quite small because I only need it for sampling purposes, so I don't need it to be huge. I just want it kind of in the corner there. And you can see whenever I did that, it made it its own layer, so it's by itself in the corner, which is great. I'm going to make a new layer for my shape, and then I'm going to make my shape probably, let's say, this purple color. That feels like a good color. Shape-wise, you can do a circle. You don't have to make it drippy like they did on the other one. You could do, like on that YouTube page, they had a bunch of different ones. I'm going to take some inspiration from these really cool looking geometric terrariums. I don't know if you've ever seen these. I think they're really neat. So I'm going to use this as kind of my starting point for a shape. I'm going to do kind of a shape that's going to have white cutouts that will be reflected in my clipping mask. So I'm going to do one of these terrariums that is kind of teardrop shaped. And then the real trick is I need to make sure that I get these corners nice and solid so that I can drag and drop and fill. See, because it's not solid, it went right through. Like so. And then I'm just going to fill in the edges. I'm not using a completely solid paintbrush, which is part of my problem. So if you make sure you're actually using a proper paintbrush, it will help. For the back part of this shape, I'm going to leave a white space because I'm doing a terrarium and those usually have like those kind of metal sort of bracers on them, so I don't want to fill it in completely. You'll notice my color is not correct, and I'm not sure why that is, but here we go. Fixed it. Just gonna adjust that. And this is not perfectly neat, but for the sake of this example, is good enough. Let's see. The bottom of this shape. And you'll notice I'm using the line feature to make it so that my lines are nice and neat. Let's see, probably like right here. I'm making up this shape as I go, so it's probably not completely accurate, but or realistic, I suppose, would be the better word for it. But it's my terrarium, and my terrarium can be whatever shape I want it to be. And this is why it's important to close your shapes very carefully. There we go. I know this is super fun to watch. My point in doing this is basically that your shape can be whatever shape you want it to be. It doesn't even have to be like a realistic shape. It can be completely unique like this. As long as it is an enclosing shape that you're going to use as a clipping mask, I will be a happy camper. So, like I said, circle is a valid option. It's just, I think, a lot more interesting, this shape here. So, now that I've got this basic shape, we are going to talk about making the clipping mask. So remember, if we wanted to just like draw, so say I picked up this like bright pink color and I just drew. I want that to clip to below it, so I'm going to tap it and turn it onto a clipping mask. Now, every layer that I make after that, if it's on top of this layer right here, then I'm going to need to reassign it as a clipping mask. If I make another one right there, it'll automatically be a clipping mask. So if you want to protect yourself from mistakes that you can accidentally make, you might just make a clipping mask layer and then just make another one underneath of it and just start working on that one, so you always have a clipping mask layer on top. If you're like me and you're forgetful, that might be helpful to you. If you're not and you're brilliant, then maybe not. I don't know. That's a you thing for you to decide. I have a few brushes that I've kind of gotten that are just kind of the same brushes you normally have access to. They're just organized into a nice neat folder where I use them more often. So I'm going to just start laying in my colors. Nope, don't like that. Let me try it right here. Something like that. So you notice that everything is very similar to the other process that you started on. And I'm not going to do the full landscape right now. I will work on that as I work my way through this lesson, but I'm going to show you the final product whenever it's done. But for right now, this is how I want you to start. Just get your shape outlined. It can be a unique shape, whatever shape you want to make. You probably want to fill the space a little better than I have, so maybe like so. And you'll notice, because this is a clipping mask, all that stuff doesn't move, only the shape, the clipping mask outline is moving, but I probably want to fill my space a little better like so. And then whenever I'm done, I'll have a landscape that is unique and designed entirely by me, utilizing the clipping mask in Procreate. So that's your assignment. You want to probably start in a similar way. You don't have to use coolers if you don't want to, but I really like it for picking out colors. I think it's a good way to get started. You can also look at inspiration for different types of landscapes. Let's say we look for vector, landscape, illustration. I'm betting we'll find some good examples, exactly. So these are some good inspirations that you could use. And these you will see again later in our class. Whenever we get to Illustrator, we're going to do some more interesting stuff, complex stuff, kind of like this. So good starting point. If you have any questions, feel free to ask me anything you need to do so, and good luck.